Hey folks, it's Mark here from psych.ai, and I wanted to show you the power of what we can build with our AI tools. So what you're seeing here is ETFtracker, and it's a system that we've created before, but it was very limited in terms of what it could do in Power BI. But thanks to Psych, we've been able to create something that is far more interactive and able to be used by many more people, and also something that we can actually trace in terms of how usage is going. So the main thing about Psych, as I scroll down the dashboard page here, is that it is highly visual. It takes a whole lot of data that comes out of ETF issuers and the major exchange here, which is the Australian Securities Exchange, and it turns it into highly visual and interactive data sets. So people can change the different months to see how good or bad performance was, what was doing best, and even use charts to see how those trends looked over time. They can do that for a certain category, like in this case, Asian equity ETFs, or they can pick a particular ETF or a set of ETFs and compare and contrast those. So by doing that and even selecting a portfolio that they own, they can see here how well their ETFs are doing and even rank them. So they can take a look and see, well, in my portfolio, what is doing good, what is doing bad, and look at the different months to see how that works, and even hypothesize what a new portfolio could look like. The best feature that we have in ETFtracker is definitely our holdings tool. This is something where users can go in and take a look at holdings comparisons for the ETFs that we scrape from the different issuers. So if I select by my favorites button, all of the ETFs that I've tagged in my portfolio, I can see where there may or may not be crossover here. So I can click on each of the ETFs to see the highlights there. I can even turn off some of these ETFs to look at a smaller portion and just see if there's any crossover between these ETFs. The crossover count here can tell me where there is a potential crossover, and I can see what the percentages are to see if it's significant to do something about, or it might not be. In my case here, I look pretty clear. I've got BMW as a strong holding in ACDC ETF. In ETHI, it's also there, but it's a very small fraction, something that I wouldn't really care about, but at least it is here and it is visual. To do something like this on your own would require downloading hundreds of ETF issuer holdings files. Because we have the holdings data, another thing that we can do is look at which ETFs contain certain equities that people are after. So if they hear in the news Kogan or Telstra or even Tesla, they can type in a ticker here and we can do a search to see which ETFs. So you can see here the different percentages if you want to get exposure to something like that. And you can even type it by name as well. Another fun feature is that we have this AI analysis page, and what we can do here is select a couple of different people that are all shaped after legendary investors, economists, etc. So let's take a look at Cathie Wood, Warren Buffett, and maybe John Maynard Keynes. And what we want to do here is ask them a question, maybe about what's going on in the ETF space, or even just economics in general. We use the power of AI and psych.ai to actually bring this together. So what do you think about tariffs? Good or bad? So let's see what they say. So we'll ask the question from each of these famed investors and economists. And as we can see here, what Warren Buffett's view is, what Cathie Wood would do, and even what John Maynard Keynes has as a standpoint. So worth a look at there as well, but it just adds to the investment journey that people can have through ETFtracker and thanks to psych.ai. Another one that we could do is say, select Ray Dalio and ask him what characteristics would you look for if you were pricing or if you were picking ETFs. So let's have a look. So he's looking for diversification, and it's important that it tracks a broad and representative index, so low fees, etc. So that's along the lines of what Ray Dalio would look for. But you can ask any question here, and there's other investors that we'll be adding, but it's just a nice touch to add to the experience of what people are using with ETFtracker.